Hello. Okay, good morning. It is Monday and it is the start of Polarthon week. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I love Polarthon. It is 9:10. I have been awake since 6. I have been home since about 7. Dropped Andy off at work this morning and I've been working ever since. I've managed to do my editing. I have managed to film a TikTok, so I'm just gonna, in the first sprint, probably quickly try and edit that. And then I am free as a bird for the rest of the week to read, which is awesome news. The only filming I'll probably end up doing this week, I do have one video that I could film ready for next week, and then next week's videos are pretty much done because this will also go up next week, which would be lovely because then I can concentrate on reading again next week. So I may do that, but it'll be a quick video. It's a short one, and then also probably some more TikToks as well, but that I can do throughout the week, which is great news. So I have Patreon sprints starting in 20 minutes, which I'm excited about. So we'll be doing Patreon sprints for the day, and then this evening Jade is hosting some kickoff sprints for Polarthon, so me and Beth will be joining her. I am obviously team reindeer and I'm really hyped about it. So yeah, I'm very excited. My prompt is for there to be an S in the title of your book, which is great news because my books all have S's in the title. Now I was going to be reading A Storm of Ice and Stars by Lisa Ludek, which would conclude that series. However, Everend just fucked me up a little bit. So the audiobook for the Winterhouse Mysteries is not available on Everend until the middle of next week, which doesn't help me at all this week. So I'm going to be getting the audiobook from Audible for the Winterhouse Mysteries. So that does mean that the only credit that I have, the only credit that I have left at the moment on Audible will be spent on the Winterhouse Mysteries, so I won't be able to get the audio for not Shiver of Snow Skies, the first one, A Storm of Ice and Stars for Lisa Ludek. So I have swapped that out for something else. So let's very quickly go through my TBR for this week. So we've got East of the Sun, West of the Moon by Jackie Morris, which I'm really looking forward to reading. There is no audiobook for this one, but it is a very quick read because there is this much text on the pages. I did not know there was a bookmark in here. There's this much text on the pages, and sometimes you get full page illustrations and also half-page illustrations. So this should be a very quick read. It is a physical read and I'm looking forward to it. I know Jade got through it very quickly. Then I've got The Snow Girl by Sophie Anderson, which I already have the audiobook for and I'm really looking forward to reading. This is absolutely stunning inside and I'm so excited to read this one. The Winterhouse Mysteries, as I've just mentioned, by Ben Gutterson. This would wrap the series up for me, which is great news. I know I've sacrificed A Storm of Ice and Stars, but they were both gonna wrap up series, so I had to sacrifice one over the other, and I'm really more excited about reading this one than that one. So I'm looking forward to this one. And then I'm partway through a couple of other books, one for one reading vlog that I don't want to tell you about, but the other one is also The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, which I would love to finish this week. So I'm not necessarily going to mention it in this vlog. I'll mention it in my monthly wrap-up, in my monthly vlog. But I am only 17 pages in, so I will be trying to make my way through the rest of this week as well, in between all of these other books. Plus another book that I'm currently making my way through that I'm not going to mention in this vlog at all because it's for something else. It's for a long project that I'm currently filming throughout the month of February in the background. But the other two books that I do have on here is The Sabotage on the Solar Express by M.G. Leonard and Sam Sedgman, the 5th in the Adventures on Train series. I really wanted to just solely focus on polar fantasy this week, but it's not worked out that way for me, unfortunately. So I will be trying to pick this one up this week as well. It was for the prompt of choose a book written by 2 authors. So I will be trying to pick this one up. It's not polar, it's not fantasy, but it does have S in the title, so I will get some points for it. It's just not, I won't get the polar points for it. And then the other one that I did swap, the choose a book whose author surname begins with an L, for Lisa Ludek, I swapped that out for The Arctic Railway Assassin, which is book 6 in this series. So this will wrap this series up as well, so I'll be finishing 2 series this week. but also this is on my 24 books in 2024, 12 books from 12 friends, so it will wrap that up as well. Again, not fantasy, but it is polar, so it will give me the vibes that I'm looking for, which is good. There is actually reindeer on the cover as well. I don't know if you can see that. Adorable. So yeah, albeit not all of them are polar fantasy, you don't have to read polar fantasy books. You can read whatever, so long as they fit the prompt. And both of these have S's in the title, so I'm over half of my books are polar fantasy for the week, which is good news, other than The Way of Kings, but I'm not including it in this vlog. So I've got 5 books on my TBR. There is another polar fantasy that I have in mind, but I'm not going to mention it just in case I don't get a chance to get to it. I will actually probably prioritise getting to other books for the other vlog that's going on in the background. But if I do have chance, like let's say I get to Sunday and I've finished all of these books and I'm looking for something else to pick up, I will reach for that one, because I am keen on reading it and it is a polar fantasy. So I don't want to mention it yet just in case I don't get to it, but if I've got one in the back of my mind that I could get to if I do find that I've got extra time in the week. So yeah, I haven't decided yet what to start off with. I am thinking maybe the Winter House Mysteries. I would like to kick the week off with a polar fantasy, so maybe the Winter House Mysteries. I think I might start with this one. This one follows a young girl called Elizabeth Summers, who in the first book she lives with her aunt and uncle. Her parents have both died. She's an orphan. She lives with her aunt and uncle, and for the Christmas period and New Year period she ends up going to this place called Winter House for 3 weeks. Now it turns out there is a family relationship with this place. As far as Elizabeth is concerned, she ends up meeting this boy called Freddie and they become really good friends. Now Elizabeth is quite gifted in being incredibly clever, and she helps out the older people in the hotel with their puzzles, their jigsaw puzzles that they do on the daily and things like that. But she starts to notice that there are some mysterious things going on at the hotel, and she wants to try and figure out what's going on. She ropes Freddie in with her and it's really, really good. I love this series. It's such a good time. In the first one we got a lot of like puzzles to solve along with Elizabeth, which was great within the book. A little bit of mixed media, but in this one you get just quite a few illustrations, full page ones, part page ones. Oh, it looks like we get some other mixed media in this one as well, maybe again some things to solve. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This was for Choose a Book, which has a picture on the spine, which also like obviously has Elizabeth and Freddie on the spine, and then Winter House as well. So I think this will be my first read, so I'm looking forward to that. I am going to focus today, the daytime, on trying to get through the other 2 books that I'm trying to make my way through, the one I'm not going to mention, and also Way of Kings, make some progress in both of those. And then this evening for the kick-off sprints I will go into this. So that is my plan. So I just wanted to start this vlog off. I am going to get going because it's now 9:20. I've been rambling for as long as I possibly could apparently. But yeah, that is my plan. Polarthon has kicked off. I'm very excited. Let's go Team Reindeer. Hello my loves, it is Tuesday. I am currently on sprints for Polarthon and I have finished my first book for Polarthon as well, and it is The Winter House Mysteries. I really enjoyed this. This was such a nice wrap up to the trilogy and I had a really good time. I really liked the atmosphere. I love the characters in this story and I just really liked how it all wrapped up. It wrapped up really nicely and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I had a fantastic time with this one. I've ended up giving it 4 stars. Would definitely recommend this series if you're into your middle grade. So yeah, I have finished that. I finished another book yesterday, but it was for a different vlog, so I wanted to try and make some progress in that, and then I started on this one last night. I'm now going to do a couple of sprints with The Way of Kings to make some progress in that as well, because I do need to get through that book. My final thoughts on that will not be in this vlog, but I just want to be transparent with you that I am reading that during this period as well. And then I did do a poll on Instagram. We're going to find out the results now to find out what I'm reading next. So it was between The Snow Girl by Sophie Anderson and also The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. So we need to check out the poll for that. I will take a screenshot of it and put it on the screen for you. Okay, so we have 46 votes for The Snow Girl and we have 75 votes for The City of Stardust. So this is what I'm going to be picking up next, which is very exciting. It turns out Beth and Jade are also reading this week, so it's almost like an impromptu buddy read. Teams who? So let me very quickly tell you what this is about. I have 3 minutes left. Let's see if we can do this. There is a cost to survival, Violet Everly. It is just a matter of fine-tuning the price. For centuries, Everlys have seen their brightest and best disappear, taken as punishment for a crime no one remembers, for a purpose no one understands. Their tormentor is a woman named Penelope who never ages, never grows sick, and never forgives a debt. 10 years ago, Violet Everly's mother left to break the curse and never returned. Now Violet must find her mother or she will be taken in her place. Her hunt leads her into a seductive, magical underworld of power-hungry scholars, fickle gods, and monsters bent on revenge, and into the path of Penelope's quiet assistant, Alexander, who she knows cannot be trusted, and yet whom she finds herself undeniably drawn. Tied to a very literal deadline, Violet will travel to the edges of the world to find her mother and the key to the City of Stardust where Everly's story began. Sounds really interesting, so I am looking forward to this one. This is very beautiful. It is the Fairy Loot edition with the original cover underneath the dust jacket. Sprayed edges, and I believe, yes, it is also signed by Georgia Summers as well. So I'm looking forward to this one. This is the illustrated letter, Dear Reader letter as well. So I am looking forward to this one. It's not too long, which is great news. How long is it? 337 pages. So hopefully this will be a really good one. For my prompts for the reindeer team, S on the title, S on the cover. So Stardust obviously begins with an S, and Summers as well begins and ends with an S. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. So that's what I'll be getting into after I've done a couple of sprints on The Way of Kings and made some progress in that. I will then dive into this one and hopefully make some decent progress in this today. I am planning on sprinting for a good chunk of the day in the hopes that Jade will join me a little bit later when she's finished work. So that's great news. Hopefully plenty of reading to be done. I haven't got a great deal else to do because I'm completely done with work this week. So yeah, can just focus on some reading. I anticipate that this will go into the weekend because I will be at work tomorrow and Thursday, and then I'll be spending the daytime with Andy on Friday, and then I will come home Friday evening. So it will continue on, I assume, unless it's an incredibly fast-paced book and I manage to finish it today, but I highly doubt that on the basis that I'm spending a couple of sprints trying to get through some of The Way of Kings. So yeah, I'll keep you posted, I'll keep you updated, and I'll check back in with you later. Hey, good morning, it's Wednesday. I'm here to give you a reading update. Last night I started The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers for my second book for Polarthon, and I got to page 148. I'm not having a good time. It's feeling very 2, maybe 3 star. I haven't, in my head, I know what the issue is. There's several issues with this, actually. I'm not 100% sure I like the characters. Penelope, who is the bad person in this, she is like, I feel like she's the character with the most depth in this book, which is really bizarre because she's not the main character. She's very violent. You will get the odd, incredibly violent scene from her, and then it goes back to slow motion. Honestly, she's very violent. She might actually be my favourite character in the whole book, which says something because I'm not a big fan of the characters in this book. The writing style is slow, very slow. It's just ploughing along, and then all of a sudden you'll have a violent scene with Penelope, and then it's ploughing along again, and a violent scene with Penelope, and it's ploughing along again. Really slow. There is no world building in this book. None. No world building. The plot is almost non-existent. We're literally trying to find what's her name? Violet's mum. And it's going really, really slow. I thought it was just the beginning, and then we got to a point where Penelope did her first thing, and I was like, okay, we're picking up now, great. And then it didn't. And I was gutted. So I'm not enjoying this. Then I went on to Goodreads last night, as I always do, just to double check before I make a decision on a book, because I was just going to put it down and then pick it back up again on the weekend. But I was thinking about it all night, and I was like, I don't want to pick that book back up, and I'm still feeling that way this morning. So I had a quick look on Goodreads. Can't tell you how many people have compared this to The Night Circus as far as the writing style is concerned. Also, Addie LaRue. Addie LaRue was a fluke for me. A huge fluke for me. I'm not sure I will ever be able to pick up a book with the writing style of Addie LaRue again and enjoy it. That was a huge fluke for me. I don't do lyrical, flowery writing, you know, perfect prose and all that good stuff. I don't do it. I don't enjoy it. I struggle to get through it. I find it very, very slow. Couldn't figure out what my main issue was with it. Yes, it's slow, there's no plot really, and I'm not enjoying the characters, which in of itself is a reason to DNF this book. The writing, I figured it out last night while I was reading through the reviews. Jesus Christ, through the reviews on Goodreads. I figured it out last night. It's the writing. That's my biggest issue with this book. I'm just not having a good time. I'm not having a good time. Jade was like, do you make it to page 200 so that you can get 2 snowballs for your team? You're 145 pages in. But if I made it to page 200, I might as well just finish the damn book. And I don't want to do that. I'm not enjoying myself. So I am going to be DNFing this, unfortunately. My second DNF of the year. It is what it is. It's a really pretty book, and I am sad about it, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's a DNF. I will get a snowball for it because I got 100 pages in, but that is all I'm going to get for it, I think, unless I can still count a snowball for the fact that there's an S on the cover as well, which is my team prompt. So I'm about to leave for work. I'm not 100% certain what my next read is going to be even, but I'll let you know as soon as I know. So I'm going to get going because I've got to go to work, and I'll see you when I see you. Okay, hello, it is Friday and it's almost 7 PM in the evening. It's been a couple of days. The last thing I updated you on was Wednesday, and that was to tell you that I was DNFing The City of Stardust for many reasons. And I need to come and give you an update. So I have been reading. I've been making some more progress in The Way of Kings, which obviously I'm not fully discussing in this video because it's not for this video, it's not for a specific video in general, but I started it back in January, so I'm just trying to finish it in Feb. I have started another book and I am over halfway through that one, but I'm not going to mention it in here because it's for a different video. However, it will count for S in the title for Polarthon, so it will get me some more points, which is great news, which means more donations for the polar bears, which is fantastic. However, I'm not gonna mention it in this video because of the type of video it's for. I don't want to spoil it for anything, so I'm not going to mention that one. I did this morning start Icebound by Readathon Trap, which is, I'll show a picture of it here. It's a arc that I currently have. It comes out on the 20th of Feb, so I wanted to get it read before then, and I just wanted to start something on my Kindle this morning, so that's exactly what I did. So I read about 100 pages of this. I'm about 20% in. This is a hockey romance, and I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but from what I've read so far, he is an NHL hockey player, professional, has quite the sordid past. He's 33 now, and he's at a point in his life where he wants to settle down, he wants to marry someone, have kids, all of that good stuff. So he's changing his life for the better, but there is also talk of his retirement as well because of his age, and the way that he has changed. That is not the case. He fully intends on being in hockey for a relatively long time. We start off with him on one of his team players' birthday nights out, and he's not necessarily having a good time. He doesn't drink anymore, and this woman comes over very, very drunk and just kisses him. She doesn't ask permission, she just kisses him. He ends up having a very small conversation with her. She's incredibly drunk, and then she runs off to go and vomit. He then decides to bail. She's ended up pouring her pink drink all over his very nice plush suit, and he decides to bail and he orders a lift. LYFT. So when the lift turns up, he gets in the car and his driver is a woman. Now he ends up sparking up conversation with this woman. He lies to her about what he does when she asks, because she hasn't immediately recognised him, and he tells her he is a plumber. She tells him she is a doctor. They are neither of those things. And they end up in an accident, a car accident, and things just kind of go from there. Now we're at a position where they have ended up saving this kid's life, and it turns out this kid is his parents, one of his parents is a CEO, I can't remember what the initials are, of a company that are now interested in a brand deal potentially with our NHL player, and he wants to take this up because he was dropped by his sponsor because of some of the shit that went down in his past, and in order to go through with this, they would like to invite him to a do in which he brings his girlfriend, the Lyft driver, because she also helped to save the kid. So then we're now in a fake dating situation. She's used it to her advantage, sorry. She's used it to her advantage against her ex, and he's now using it to his advantage for the sponsorship deal. So that's the point at which I'm up to. They haven't gone on the fake dating yet, but they have both now realised that the other was lying to them about what they do for a job. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm having a good time. So yeah, I'm enjoying that. There isn't an S in the title or in the author's name, which is a struggle for me, because although my page count will get me some snowballs because it's over 300 pages, the lack of S in the title or author's name will not. However, there just needs to be an S on the cover. Now at the top of this cover it says Boundless Players Book 1. That's 3 S's. So I get my snowball for the team prompt, which is great news. So I'm reading that, and I'm hopefully going to finish that this week, which is fantastic news. So I'm now in the middle of 3 books that I'm actively reading. I'm in the middle of more than that, but that I'm actively reading. I'm now in the middle of 3 books. But I will want to be picking one of these up tomorrow. I'm probably going to do a little bit of reading tonight, but not much. Jade and Beth are currently doing sprints, but honestly I've had such a busy couple of days that I just would really like to slow down and just watch a little bit of TV for this evening, potentially read when I go and get in bed later. I'm also absolutely fucking freezing, so I just want to wrap up on the couch in front of the fire and chill out and have some food. So I will maybe do a poll to see what people think I should pick up first. I want to read both of these over the weekend. And then if I get to more, I will do. If I don't, I don't. That's fine. But yeah, I'm hoping to maybe finish one of the 2 books that I'm currently in the middle of, the book that I can't tell you about. I know that's annoying. I do apologise. It's for another vlog, and maybe I should just not mention it in here at all, but I want to be clear with you that I am reading other books in the background as well. So I am getting more points for my team. I just can't tell you about the book. I apologise. Or Icebound. So I might try and maybe finish one of those today, but if not, I will finish them tomorrow. And then I will want to go back to my Polar Fantasy, so I may do a poll to see which one I should pick up first tomorrow. And then, yeah, that is everything pretty much. So I am making some progress. I'm getting some reading done. It's not a great deal, but it is what it is. I have already finished 1 book for Polarthon. I've DNF'd another. And I'm making my way through 2 more books that will both count towards points for my team. So that's great news. They're not Polar Fantasy though, which is a shame, but it is what it is. This is a little bit, it's not really polar, it's definitely not fantasy, it's romance, but it's icebound, it's set on ice, you know, because, well, the book isn't set on ice, but he's a hockey player, so, you know. Kind of counts. But yeah, that is pretty much the update. I just wanted to come on and tell you about that. I'm absolutely fucking freezing. I am shivering my knackers off. I'm freezing. So I'm going to go downstairs, put the heating on, put the fire on, make some food because I'm starving, and chill in front of the telly for a little bit, I think. And I may do a little bit of reading later. So I will check back in with you tomorrow when I have an update for you, and I will let you know how things are going. But yeah, that's pretty much today's update and the last few days update as well. I haven't got anything else to tell you, so I will speak to you then. Okay, happy Saturday. I am on sprints at the moment. I have just finished the book that I'm not able to tell you about because it's for another vlog, so I have now finished that, which is great news. And I am going to go back into The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson for a few hours, I think. I want to try and get a decent ways into this, like maybe around the 300 page mark. I'm currently on page 122, so we'll see whether or not I manage that. I'm just going to see how I get on. I'm going to crank up the audiobook to 3 times speed and follow along with the book. But I would like to still try and finish this before the end of the weekend. If I don't manage it, I will run into Monday with it and finish it then. But I just want to make more progress on it because I really want to start getting this finished. I really want to get this finished because I'm kind of sick of seeing it. And then I think I'm going to, when I've done my pages that I want to do today for this, I'm going to go into East of the Sun, West of the Moon by Jackie Morris, which will be a physical read, but shouldn't be too difficult because the writing in here, there isn't a lot of it. And there are also a lot of like full page illustrations and stuff as well, or with like an illustration on one of the pages with just a bit of writing. So it shouldn't take me too long to get through. And I've been dying to read this one. So yeah, that's my plan for today. Try and get through some more of Way of Kings and then go on to East of the Sun, West of the Moon. And hopefully that will be the rest of my day. So I will check back in with you and I've got another update for you and I'll speak to you then. Hello, okay, it's Sunday. I forgot to update you yesterday. Again. But yesterday's plans didn't quite go to plan. The planning was not planning. So I did pick up Way of Kings. I read 34 pages and I'm really struggling with that book. I can't decide if it's me that's the problem or the book. And I think I have this thing inside of me that needs to enjoy all of Brandon Sanderson's books. Now we already know that's not the case. I really disliked Mistborn Era 2 and Warbreaker. And I think because I own all of his books, especially like Stormlight Archives, I already own them all. My brain is like, I need to like this because I own all of the books, you know? And it's just a waste if I don't end up reading them and liking them. So I think I need to get out of this thinking mentality, and I also need to take a step back from that book and make a decision, whether it's because I've been reading the book for like 3 weeks and I'm not necessarily bored of the story, I'm just bored of myself reading the book, or whether it is that I'm not enjoying the story. So what I've decided to do is put that book down for a few days, stop thinking about it, try and clear my head from it, and then go back to it with an open mind, with the potential that I will either DNF it or I am interested in the story enough to want to know what happens at the end and finish it off. So that's what I'm doing with that. I then couldn't, because it threw me into a tailspin, I then couldn't decide what to read next. I didn't want to go on to East of the Sun, West of the Moon. I didn't want to go on to The Snow Girl, which were my next 2 books to read for this readathon. And I ended up having a walk around the house for like 10 minutes and then going back into the library with a complete open, let's just pick something off the shelves that I want to read. Forget I have a TBR, forget that I'm doing Polarthon, just pick something off the shelves that I want to read. And I made the decision to go for Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. Now this is the second one in the Knockmount series, and I decided to pick this one up. I thought that being with familiar characters in a setting I'm already familiar with, a romance, would be easy for me. It turns out that that was in fact the correct decision. So I'm glad that I've done this. In this one we're following Nash and Lena. So Nash is Nox's brother. Nox is from the first story. Lena is Nox's best friend and also ex-girlfriend back from school. So they have a history, but it's not a relevant history. We first meet Nash and Lena in the first book, and Nash is the local chief of the police department. Lena is in town to visit Nox, but it turns out there's something more going on. Now, I can't tell you too much more about these two characters because it follows on directly from the first book, and some things happen in that book that then have a knock-on effect with this book. But these two have kind of like a, I don't want to say enemies to lovers, it's not even rivals, they just kind of have like a, oh, they just love to snap at each other, do you know what I mean? But there is so much emotional and sexual tension between the two. Nash has definitely got some anxiety going on and PTSD from something that happens in the first book. And he's having a lot of like panic attacks that for some reason Lena is the only person he's willing to open up to and is the person that's helping him through it. Lena has a past, and she also has a bit of an anxiety issue and other physical health conditions that follow kind of in tandem with that. And again, Nash is the person that she kind of opens up to about that. So, but there's a lot of stuff they're not opening up to each other about. Her work, for example, and the reason why she's in town other than seeing Nox. Other things like that. But I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm having a very good time. It was definitely a good call to be with familiar characters in a familiar place. A setting that I'm already familiar with. Didn't have to start fresh. This was a really good call. I'm really enjoying myself. I forgot how much I love Lucy Score's writing style and how much I love her characters and the Knockmount town and these side characters as well. I'm having a really good time. It's also really nice to see Nox and Naomi again, and also Waylaid. And I'm just really enjoying myself. I'm having a great time. I am currently over halfway through this book. I'm on page 349. I've been reading this morning, but yesterday I got to page 207. So I'm making really good progress in this. I am hoping to finish it today. And then I am also currently reading an arc of Icebound by Meredith Trapp. I'll show a picture of it here. I got 108 pages or so into that on Friday, and I would like to go back to it this evening. So I am kind of hoping that I can finish Things We Hide from the Light and also Icebound before the end of the day, and to wrap up Polarthon. I haven't been counting up my snowballs for Polarthon. So if you don't know what Polarthon is, it's a readathon hosted by Jade. She does it the same week every single year in February, first full week of Feb, and we do it to raise money for polar bear charity to help save the polar bears. So the idea this year is that so there are teams. There is Jade's team, and her prompt is for, which is the polar bear team, her prompt is for foil on the cover. Beth's team is the foxes, Arctic foxes, and her prompt is blue on the cover. And my team are the reindeers, and my prompt is for an S on the cover somewhere. Doesn't have to be in the title, it can be the author's name, it can be on a quote from an author somewhere, just an S on the title on the cover. So you pick a team, and then for your team, if you read a book that completes the prompt, you get a snowball. If you read 100 pages, you get a snowball. And if the book is a polar fantasy, you get a snowball. So for every 100 pages you read, you get a snowball. For completing your team's prompt, you get a snowball. And then if it's polar fantasy, you also get a snowball. So for this, it's not polar fantasy. It does have an S on the cover. And there are over 500 pages. So I will get six snowballs for this. I haven't been counting my snowballs up as I've gone through the week. I will do it at the end. I will let you know how many snowballs I've got and how much I am going to donate to the charity. But yeah, I'm having a really good time so far. So yeah, really enjoying this. I needed to come on and give you an update before I got to the end of this book and was like, by the way, I've just read this. But I'm having a good time. I'm glad to be back in Knockmount with these characters. I'm really enjoying myself. This has got a lot going on in it, and I constantly wonder why romances are starting to get bigger, but when they involve so much like these do, the core story and plot in the background is really, really interesting, and I'm really having a good time with it. It really does drag Knox and Naomi in very heavily, and we do get to see the side characters a lot. It's almost like their main characters. So obviously our main characters are Lena and Nash, but having Knox and Naomi, Lucian, Waylon, Sloane, even Steph within the storyline, they're not main characters, but they're too good for side characters, if you know what I mean. Not that side characters are not good, because side characters are great, and sometimes I prefer side characters over main, but they're almost like an in-between, if you know what I mean. So I'm just really enjoying myself, having a very good time. So I wanted to come on, give you an update. I'm going to go continue on with this. I'm currently on sprints with Beth. So I'm going to go and continue on with this. I'll give you an update when I have finished it, let you know my full thoughts. Okay, hello. I'm here to wrap this vlog up. I am currently halfway through editing this vlog. It looks like I live in my library. There is one clip, which is the clip just before this, that I'm in my living room, and that's it. The rest of it is filmed in here, and look at me wrapping this up in the library. I don't live in my library, I promise you. This week did not go as I planned. I am struggling a little bit with fighting off a slump, and that does now mean that I have to kind of mood read a little bit, which is fine. But it does, you know, mean that I don't get to pick up the books that I planned for certain videos. So I'm working it out, it's fine. I managed to prevent the slump from happening, which was great news. I did manage to read just over 2,100 pages, which is great news. That's 21 snowballs, plus 8 snowballs for any S's in titles, and also Polar Fantasies, which is also good news. So in total 29 snowballs for my team Reindeer, which is fab. And I am going to donate, £1 a snowball, but I'm actually going to donate 30 quid because I'm just going to round it up. So I'm going to donate 30 quid. I would love to donate more, but unfortunately that's not feasible for me right now. So yeah, I had a really good time. I had a fantastic time with this, and I'm really grateful to Jade for asking me to help co-host this time round. Also with Beth, we all had a really good time, I think, and we hope that you guys had a good time as well with this. So really happy. If you haven't had a chance to donate yet, I will leave the link to the donation page in the description box down below. It will stay open pretty much forever, so feel free to donate if you would like to do so, even if you didn't take part in the readathon. The polar bears, I'm sure, would greatly appreciate it. So let's do a quick rundown of exactly what I read this week. So the only Polar Fantasy that I actually completed this week was the Winter House Mysteries, and I'm a little bit sad about that, but there's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars, had a good time. It's got S on the title, S on the cover. It is a Polar Fantasy, so I've got 2 other snowballs for that one. Then I did DNF The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. I did get the snowball for this for S on the cover, but I didn't get the snowball for Polar Fantasy because I had a quick word with Jade about it, and she said she wasn't, because in fact she didn't DNF this, Beth did. But for the book that she did DNF, she isn't counting the snowball for Polar Fantasy, but she will count it for, if, you know, it had foil on the cover, she will count it for her team. So I'm counting it for the S on the cover, but not for the Polar Fantasy because I didn't finish it. I got 148 pages into this one, wasn't enjoying myself in the slightest, so I DNF'd it. Then I went to back into The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I managed another 34 pages of this on Saturday. I think it was Saturday, yeah, because I was doing sprints and I was having a bit of a meltdown because I just wasn't having a good time and I was not in the mood. So I ended up putting this down, and I am going to take a few more days to think on this, but there is potential that I'm actually going to DNF this series. this book, and then obviously the Stormlight Archives in tow. I'm just having a struggle with this, I'm not gonna lie. It's taken me 3 weeks to get to this point, and this is how far I am through book 2, part 2 of book 1, which is The Way of Kings. I'm just really struggling with it. I don't really care. Struggling a little bit with the world building. I don't see how this is going to come together, and I'm questioning whether that's going to happen in this book or whether it will continue on throughout the series. And I'm just not having a good time, I'm not gonna lie. Still on the fence about whether that's me or the book. There is a mix of things going on here, but I'm gonna take a few more days to think about it before I make an official decision. But so far, I did not finish this. The pages that I did read for it this week, because I read over 100 pages overall this week for this book, have counted towards my snowballs, but otherwise the rest of the book hasn't counted. So I'm on the fence. Don't take my DNF as solid information in this vlog. I will let you know in my February wrap up, as well as in my February vlog, what my final decision is on this book. I'm going to take a few more days before I make any rash decisions. So because I wasn't having a good time with this, I then had a walk, did a couple of laps around the house, cleared my head, came in with an open mind and was like, right, what do I feel in the mood to pick up right now? Doesn't matter whether it fits the prompts, doesn't matter if it's on my TBR or not. What am I in the mood to read right now? So I picked up Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I could feel a slump coming on, and I wanted to pick up something that was familiar to me, whether it be the characters or the town. And this is the second in the Knockmount series, and this was a great shout because I had a fantastic time with this. So it's over 500 pages, 5 snowballs for my team, and it's also got S on the cover, so another snowball, 6 snowballs in total. Loved this. Gave it 5 stars. It was absolutely fantastic. I had such a good time with this. I think the representation of anxiety and PTSD was done really, really well in this. I loved the character arcs from both Lena and Nash throughout this book. It was really, really good, and it's made me incredibly excited to pick up Things We Left Behind, which will be Lucian and... what is her name? Begins with an S. Sloane's story. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, had a fantastic time with this one, 5 stars. And then there was another book that I read, but I couldn't tell you about in this vlog because it's for a different video again, and my apologies about that. But the snowballs counted towards that. I think I got 4 snowballs in total for that because there was S on the cover, and it was over 300 pages. And then Icebound was the last one. I'll put a picture of it here, but I didn't quite finish this one. So I counted the pages that I got up to finishing off last night. I got up to page 258 in this one, and also there was an S in the cover. I've just gone through and edited the whole discussion about that. So I got 3 snowballs for this one. I didn't finish it, but I did get certain ways into it. I will finish this one in my February vlog. But otherwise, really enjoying this one so far, having a very good time. A little confused where this story is going to go, but I am having a good time with it. So yeah, it was pretty successful as far as how many snowballs I managed to get, how much I actually read. But as far as like Polar Fantasy is concerned, I'm a little sad about the fact that I didn't read more Polar Fantasy. I'm not gonna lie, I am a little bit sad about it, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, when you're battling a reading slump, you need to do all you can to try and keep out of it, however that looks for you. So for me, it's going back to something familiar, whether that be a reread or a series I'm partway through that I know will go well for me. So again, like, this series will also always do well for me. And yeah, apparently the Knockmount series has done well for me as well. So going back to something familiar or a reread does me the world of good when I feel a slump coming on. Graphic novels as well, or manga, always do well for me as well, especially if I'm partway through a series, because I know I'm already enjoying it, so that's really good. Albeit that doesn't always track, because Jasper Vale, you know? I'm salty about it, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, but overall, a reasonably good week. It went okay. I can't be mad about it, that's for sure. I'm just sad that I didn't get to more Polar Fantasy, you know? I'm usually really heavy on the Polar Fantasy and Polarthon, but it is what it is. I've still read quite a lot of stuff, so I'm really happy with that. And I've managed to donate some money to charity and also get 29 snowballs for my team, which is great news. Go Team Reindeer. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below, did you take part in Polarthon? What team were you on? How many snowballs did you get? And if you didn't take part in Polarthon, what did you read last week? Did you find a new favourite? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I shall see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.